What's going on, Jeromes? So the Minnesota Vikings need to add a little bit of size, a little bit of attitude in the trenches. And center Garrett Bradbury has been a talking point amongst the fan base for years. Ever since he came in as a first-round pick, number 18 overall in the 2019 draft, the Grim Reacher, the pride of NC State. He was supposed to become the next Jason Kelce, where plays with good leverage and plays with great quickness, can get to second and third level, and just heart and hustle, and undersized but unafraid, and just a man in the middle for the Vikings. But it didn't really turn out that way. And through his first 3 years in the league, he was just not good. And it is what it is. But the Vikings were able to get a little something out of him as they had the regime change, and Chris Cooper came in and really turned things around for Garrett Bradbury. He markedly improved in 2022, had a solid 2023. But is this an instance of letting good be the enemy of great? Who knows? But the Vikings, even though they didn't pick up his fifth-year option, they did re-sign him last offseason to a 3-year, $15.75 billion deal. But like with most contracts in the NFL, multi-year deals are really only one-year deals. And also, major concern, Garrett Bradbury missed significant time in 2022, as well as missed some time in 2023 with a back injury that's similar but not the same, which I know. As someone who knows about back injuries, that does scare me a little bit, because you never meet anyone who used to have a bad back. And also, playing center, playing with that leverage, it's always a lot of torque on the L5, L6, and all the Ls. It's just rough, man. But the question is, should the Vikings move on from Bradbury? Because we got to get back to having the meats. So again, hear me out. Vikings should cut Garrett Bradbury this offseason. Now, the Vikings could move on, no muss, no fuss, because even though this is actually incorrect, because if the Vikings cut Bradbury, they'd have 2 years of prorated signing bonus, so around $2.5 million dead on the cap. But the Vikings would save around $4 million if they moved on from Garrett Bradbury. I don't think he's tradable. So I think it would have to be a cut. Now, they would have to do that before the the third day of the new league year, when a significant portion of his 2024 base salary, $4.9 million, will become guaranteed. So they'd have to do something about that. And Bradbury's sneaky old. So he's a little bit older of a prospect coming out of NC State. He will be 29 in June. And also, heading towards 30 and having a bad back, worrisome. He was PFF's worst center for 3 years, which is kind of hard to do, because you have to have enough promise that you keep starting, but bad enough where you're just not rated good. 2023, 60.9. Nice PFF grade, 22nd in the NFL. He was top 12 in 2022, but last year, 22 pressures, 3 sacks, 9 penalties. Now, part of that can be chalked up to Kirko getting injured. So you have backup quarterbacks, some of them not used to the speed of the NFL game, like Jaron Hall, or not used to the offense like Josh Dobbs, or a backup like Nick Mullins, even though Mullins was perfectly fine. I feel like part of that was you do have to take the offensive line stats with a grain of salt because of the quarterback change, but the running game was just bad. And Bradbury, for all of his faults as a pass protector, like, Bradbury has been a decent run blocker, especially second and third level, and fits in the wide zone, what they want to do up front. But again, Bradbury has been much improved versus first 3 years. The bar was pretty low. But again, Bradbury is starting to age out. He has a bad back, and do not let good be the enemy of great. And the Vikings offensive line, I think really only Darrisaw is the only one that you could say, hey, he's going to be a dude here long term, even with the injuries. And I'm hesitant about extending him. I have no problem picking up his fifth-year option, but I want to see Darrisaw have a full, dominant, healthy season. Brian O'Neill is also getting up there in age, also coming back from injuries, getting dinged up. I still think that he can resume being one of the best right tackles in the game. Ed Ingram improved a lot in year 2. It wasn't a situation like Bradbury where there wasn't a lot going on in the first 3 years, so props to Ed Ingram. Dalton Ryner is an open market free agent. We'll see if he runs back with the Vikings, but we said this a bunch. If the Vikings want to do a scheme change up front and get back to having 330-pound dudes, I would be okay with it. and cutting Garrett Bradbury would be the first move. Now, who would replace him? So there's 5 options in free agency and a couple options in the draft. So Connor Williams of the Dolphins, yes, coming off that torn ACL, former guard for the Cowboys, played some great center down on South Beach. Now, it probably would be a 1-year prove-it deal, and then he'd have to get paid. We'll see. Mitch Morse looks like he could be a cap casualty with the Bills. Same thing with Lloyd Cushenberry III. Reuniting him with Chris Cooper would make some sense. If he is cut by the Broncos, he looks to be a cap casualty as well. Brian Allen was recently cut by the Rams. Familiarity with Kevin O'Connell, Wes Phillips, but also, I mean, Allen has had injury issues the last couple of years, plus he is another one of those undersized centers. Cody Whitehair, I mean, he would not be a long-term solution, as he is 31, but I always respected his game with the Bears as well as back at Kansas State. Then centers in the draft. So Jackson Powers Johnson, of course, would be 1-1 out of Oregon. Graham Barton, left tackle at Duke, figures to kick inside. I think that he would be a hellacious center. Just get after him, man. Zach Frazier from West Virginia. Now, Frazier and Bo Limmer are in the undersized center molds like Bradbury, but I do think that Frazier plays with a little bit better leverage. Limmer is sort of like Bradbury. And also got Cedric Van Pran from Georgia. So, I mean, there are options for the Vikings. Plus, I mean, let's not forget, Dalton Ryner played a little bit of center at Kansas State. So could it be a spot that Ryner is re-signed to be center, and then the Vikings get them some dudes in free agency at guard, like Michael Onwenu from the Patriots, and the draft Cooper Beebe, not Chad Beebe. Although I feel like sometimes Chad Beebe would be an upgrade at guards over some of the years. But Cooper Beebe from Kansas State, just adding some size along that offensive line and adding some mass. But I don't know, TBD what's going to happen. But again, if the Vikings want to make drastic moves and make sure that whether it's Kirk in his golden years or rookie TBD are going to be good to go, don't let good be the enemy of great. And though Garrett Bradbury has been borderline good the last couple of years, I think the Vikings could be great in the middle. And cutting him and freeing up some cap space and really going for the pin would be a way to go. But your thoughts are thoughts. Hear me out. Vikings should cut Garrett Bradbury. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.